Hi, everyone. I'm Robin Rogers. I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning for another great cooking demonstration by Michal Levison. And honestly, after the heat wave of the last few days, there's nothing more appealing than learning how to make a great salad and some new cocktails to go with them. Before I introduce you to Michal, allow me a few minutes to share with you a little something about Jewish Federation. I am so proud of the work Federation does today and every day. During this unprecedented time in our history, Federation has done an outstanding job assessing the needs in our community and allocating resources to make sure emerging needs are being met. In a few weeks, we will be packing and distributing 1,800 filled backpacks as a large group. Backpacks to children in need so they can start the school year off on the right foot. This year, our Supplies for Success event had to be reimagined, and instead of gathering as a large group as in past years, this year there will be packing pop-ups in people's homes and in outside tents in the Federation parking lot. If you are interested in supporting this program or the work Federation does every day, just go to www.jfnnj.org/donate to make a difference. And now, before another minute goes by, let me share with you a little bit about Michal. Michal is a speaker, engagement expert, and the author of 2 Amazon 5-star cookbooks. Michal and her team empower individuals, businesses, and communities to reconnect to food and return to the communal meal as a way of building productive and healthy lives. And most importantly, Michal and her family live in our community and are proud supporters of Federation. During the program, Michal is happy to take questions. Please use the Q&A function or the chat section at the bottom of the screen, and you will not see me, but I will read your questions. And if you have something you'd like to say right away, we'll be able to take those questions, and also at the end. So Michal, I'll turn it over to you.
Hey guys, good morning. It's almost noon, which means it's almost 5 o'clock somewhere, which is why we're gonna make some salads and we're gonna make some cocktails, because there's nothing better for the summer than not having to be slaving away in the kitchen cooking for hours to make a meal. So I'm gonna start us off with a grilled peach salad. Our base is arugula. And then I've already cut up some peaches, but I'm gonna show you quickly how I like to cut up my peaches just in case you haven't done it yet. All right, so basically you score all the way around the peach until you can literally just pop it open. Then don't forget, remove the pit, chuck it in the sink, and then retrieve it later because I don't have a garbage disposal. Then you can either cut it in half and then cut the half in half, so cut it in quarters and then eighths, like so, or you can just go around and cut the sections. So now what I'm going to do is, now that I have all 3 peaches cut, now I'm making enough salad probably for a good amount of people, 6, 7 people, depending on whether if this is a full meal, then it's probably for 3 or 4. But if this is a side dish, then you can definitely feed a lot more people. I'm going to drizzle these peaches. I know my recipe says that you should brush it on, but you know, who has time? So just drizzle the peaches with olive oil and definitely give them a nice salting, because you always want to season all of your ingredients. Now I'm going to show you, my favorite salt is called Maldon. It's M-A-L-D-O-N. It's a sea salt. And the great thing about it is that it comes in these like big flakes, but the minute you stick it in your fingers, you can grind it to as fine of a consistency as you like. So that's what I'm putting on my peaches. Now I'm gonna walk over here to the grill pan. You can do this outside on a regular grill, but sometimes you just don't feel like going outside, turning on the grill. I get it. That's why I have a grill pan. It's a cast iron grill pan, so it works perfectly for all of the indoor grilling that you might want to do, especially for peaches, makes it nice and easy. So I'm just gonna lay them flesh side down, so not on the skin, one flesh side down, because you want to get nice grill marks. And this is probably the most intense part of our cooking for today. Actually, the only cooking we're doing today. So you lay these all down, and the reason you want the oil is so that they don't stick to the pan. And already I can smell them caramelizing, and I have to tell you, it's an intoxicating scent. I wish we had smell-o-vision so that you guys could smell this. Really, it's delish. All right, so I've got my peaches. I'm gonna grab a towel. Got my peaches lying on the grill pan. I keep all of my tools right by my stovetop so that I always have them handy dandy. I'm gonna take tongs, and here you wanna give them about a minute or so that they get really nice, defined grill marks, because you want them to soften a little, you want them to caramelize, you want the sugars to really get that nice caramel flavor, because that adds a lot to the salad. It really offsets the pepperiness of the arugula and the richness of the Gouda. It's really good. All right, let's see. Let's see how we're doing here. I think we need another couple of seconds. So in the meantime, what I'm going to show you is I have these candied pecans. You can make them or you can buy them, whatever's easier for you. But going a little off camera. They're big, so, and they kind of cluster together. So what I like to do to be able to get a little bit of crunch in the salad, but not big giant pecans that no one can fit into their mouth, I like to hammer them. So you put them in a bag. You can put them in a plastic bag. You can put them, I like these compostable sandwich bags. Hit them. Give them a couple of whacks. And now you have these nice little, they're not small enough. I'm gonna whack. This is a great time to get all your energy out. You're angry at someone, you picture them as a pecan. All right, so now I have these nice smaller chunks. You see that? I'm gonna put them in my little bowl for later when we dress the salad. Always taste your ingredients. That's yummy. All right, I'm gonna go back to the grill pan. And you wanna flip them so that you get grill marks on both sides. And so now I'm flipping. I'm going, the smell. It smells like heaven. You've ever had a peach pie and you've kind of like been there as the pie was baking and you smelled that amazing peach sugar heaven? This is kind of very similar. Okay, so basically what you want to do is you want to leave these peaches here for another minute or so just to get those grill marks on the other side. And let me show you what that looks like in a second. So,
I have two questions for you.
I'm sorry, question? Yes, go ahead.
One is, can we make this a day ahead of time?
You can, absolutely. You can grill the peaches ahead of time. I would say you can make the dressing ahead of time. You can grill the peaches ahead of time. And then you don't want to make it all combined until right before you serve, because everything will end up very soggy. But here, let me show you how you get these beautiful grill marks. Oh, that's hot.
And we have a second question too.
Another question. Go ahead.
About the cheese.
Yeah.
Somebody wanted to know if you could substitute another cheese for Gouda.
Absolutely. You can use Parmesan, any sort of nice hard cheese that has a bit of texture. Because what I like to do, I'll show you now as the peaches finish up. I like to shave the cheese because I like to have these beautiful little strips that we toss into the salad. Now, normally I would show you and we would do like this big giant salad, but I thought it would be nice to plate it for you so that you see how you can plate it for an individual serving, just in case you're not making a giant salad for a ton of people. how you can make it look really pretty on the plate as well. So our peaches are grilled, and we're gonna make the dressing first before we plate it. That would be important. So we have olive oil. There are lots of really amazing olive oils out there on the market now, and olive oil comes in all shapes and sizes. And I would recommend that you do a little bit of tasting, because some olive oil is really great for cooking, like when you're not really going to taste it. But you want, for a salad dressing, you want a really delicious, not bitter olive oil that can stand on its own and that will really highlight the ingredients that you're working with. So I have this really beautiful extra virgin olive oil from a very small maker that it's like, I think they're third generation of olive growers in Italy. And it's an American company that also has ties to this. It's a half American, half Italian owned. So we've got olive oil. I'm going to add our sherry vinegar, a little bit of honey. You have the exact recipe with all of the proportions that you guys can make at home. And salt and pepper. It's a really, really simple dressing. There's not much to it because the ingredients really need to be the stars. We don't want to overwhelm anything with too much flavor on top of it. So what I like to do is I use a cup, a fork, and I just kind of mix it all around until you see that it's pretty well mixed and the honey has really kind of mixed into the whole thing. Now I'm going to dress the salad because it's easier to do that in a bigger bowl before you put it on the final plate. So I will dress the arugula. And now you can do this with your hands if you're comfortable. You can just use the tongs to really just make sure that the arugula is covered enough with dressing so that it's not, so it's not dry, but it's not too glumpy. You want to make sure that it's really nicely dressed. All right, so what I like to do is put a nice pile of the arugula. I like to then take the candy, here we go. So I've plated the arugula. And I wish you guys could see this better. I'm gonna put it on top of here. Hang on, let's see if this is, there we go. We're making do. Then I like to just sprinkle the pecans. I like to place the peaches. So for each serving, I like to do about four peach slices.
Michal,
Yeah.
another question.
Yes.
Is there another vinegar if you don't have sherry vinegar?
Yes, you can use literally red wine vinegar. You can use a little balsamic. If you don't like vinegar, you can actually substitute lemon juice. Make it nice and simple. You just don't want anything that's too overpowering or overwhelming for the salad. But yes, you could use a fig vinegar to add an interesting little element. So I like to put the peaches in a kind of a pinwheel. I'll show you in a second. Whoop. It's a little pinwheel. And now we shave the whatever cheese you've decided to use. It could be Parmesan, it can be Gouda. There's so many amazingly delicious cheeses that can be used. So I like to shave the cheese, and then I'll place that also kind of in the center. We can do one last little, so if you have microgreens, which I happen to grow kale and arugula and all sorts of stuff in my garden. So I like to put a little pile of that on top. I'm going to show you the plating like this. And then if you have marigolds or cucumbers growing in your garden, the flowers are actually edible. So you can use a marigold to add a pop of color on top, like so. Or cucumber flower, whichever you like. But I love how all the colors go together. You get a little pop of orange and yellow. The peaches pop bright. The Gouda has a little orangey kind of color. And when you put it all together, let me taste it for you and make sure it tastes okay. Hang on. Let's see. Let's see if it all comes together. Oh, it's so good. So the warmth of the peach, if you do it the day before, it's fine. It's okay if the peach isn't hot, but the warmth of the peach gives it a slightly different texture. And then with the creaminess of the cheese, the crunch from the walnuts, the acidity from the vinaigrette, it's a really delicious and balanced salad. If you want to take it up another notch, you could add grilled chicken. If you wanted to add protein, you could add some tuna. But just like this, it is the perfect summer salad. Okay, that's salad number one. We're going to move on to the second one. I'm going to clear this stuff off and move on to our next, which is a watermelon salad, which once again, I'm going to show you how to, so this one is even easier, I think, to plate individually. You can do a nice big platter. It looks gorgeous either way. I'm going to show you again another individual plating. I'm going to clean this up a little bit so that we don't have it in the way. Now, the hardest part of this recipe is cutting the watermelon, which isn't that hard. So I'm going to show you how I've done it. I have a half of a half slice, half moon slice. And now the easiest way to do it, so you lay it down and you cut literally a triangle, because this is the shape that we want. We want this. You could do any shape. I'm just showing you how I've done it with a triangular. It's a bigger kind of salad that people then have to cut. If you don't want people to have to cut, say you're doing it at a barbecue and you want people to be able to just spoon it onto their plate and kind of be able to pick it, you can have little chunks. There's no right or wrong way to do it. I'm just doing it today in triangles. So because my slice was a little thick, I'm actually going to cut it in half. So now I have two. Okay, so let me show you how I plate this. So I've done a little prep work. I did the work this morning. I like to lay the triangles around. This is the easiest salad ever, I tell you. So that's kind of the base. We've got the base of the watermelon. We're gonna make our dressing because that's a key to the salad. So in my garden, I actually grow these beautiful mint. It smells so good. In Hebrew, we call it nana. I think it's spearmint. It is so good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of these big giant leaves off so that I can chop them up. And we're going to make a dressing out of this. All right, so I'm moving the watermelon away. I think we got that part. So the best way to chop any herb is so you pick all the leaves and then I roll it into this roll, like a tight roll, so that I can do this. I can lay it down on my cutting board and then I just make slices. And it comes out into this, like this. See, they're like little thin strips. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. So now I put all of this mint again, I love to use a glass to make my dressings because it just makes things easier. I don't know. Just love it. So I'm gonna add in my olive oil. I'm going to add in some salt.
Michal, a question.
Yes.
Is there a general rule for the amount of olive oil versus a vinegar in a salad dressing like that?
It's not a hard and fast rule, but I usually do 2 to 1 or 2.5 to 1 more olive oil than the acid. But it's really to taste. Some people really love the acidity of either lemon juice or a vinegar. So if you're into, so start with a 2 to 1. And if it's too strong for you with a vinegar, then add a little more olive oil. And if it's not strong enough, you can adjust the taste. But it's really important to always taste food as you're making it and as you're seasoning it. So you don't come into this place where you're like, oh, I trust the salad, and it's falling flat because there's not enough acid. I mean, you can always add on top, but it's nice to know as you're going into it that you're going to have something that you really enjoy. So what I'm doing is basically letting the olive oil, I'm going to put a little more olive oil because I see I have a little more mint than I probably should have put in. But so I'm going to let this kind of rest so that the olive oil soaks up some of the mint. When you cut up any herbs, all of the oils are released. So it's great to let the dressing sit a little bit so that it infuses the whole thing with that mintiness. It's going to be so delicious. Okay, so now we're going to do the same trick that we did with the the pecans, which is we're going to chop up the pistachios, which I have here. I got lazy. I got the already pre-peeled or shelled pistachios, or you can just shell them yourself. Give your kids a little something to do, or give someone, a task of shelling pistachios. All right, so we do the same thing. We're gonna beat them up. Let's make sure. Nope, not yet. A little bit more. You can make it to a beat and do a little dancing. Wow, these pistachios do not want to crush. Boom. Okay. All right. So now we are going to, just so you know, so in the directions, you'll see that you're supposed to put these in a pan and let them toast a little bit. I've done that because I didn't think that that was going to be very interesting to watch. So basically, you're going to place them in a pan. What that does is as you heat them up, one, it gives them a little bit of a crunch, and two, it also releases their oils and releases the fragrance, which is really amazing. So we're going to do this. We're going to place so what are we doing here? We are going to feta. Sorry, forgot about the feta. One of the most important parts of the salad. Here we go. We have the feta. So you can either just take it by hand and kind of crumble it, or you can chop it. I'm going to chop it today just so that we get a relatively even looking crumble. What I do is I slice it into these slices, I stack them, and basically I like to cut them into cubes. So I cut the slices again in half, turn it, and then just chop. And then you'll see they'll kind of crumble naturally by themselves, but then you have this lovely chunky little chunks of feta. Okay. Now, let's finish off our salad dressing by adding the pomegranate vinegar. Now, okay, again, I know not everyone has pomegranate vinegar, and that's okay. Fig vinegar, balsamic vinegar, anything that's kind of a little bit darker and heavier is nice because it's a really, that kind of contrast between a little bit richer, a little bit deeper of the vinegar with the brightness and lightness of the watermelon is a really nice juxtaposition. So we're going to do this. We're going to put this all together. And that is, so we've got our watermelon base. I'm going to now sprinkle some pistachios because I like to get them all over. I'm going to then sprinkle the feta, again, all over. And then I'm going to kind of drizzle the dressing all over because I want to get the mint. I want to get that beautiful green of the mint, but I also want to get that gorgeous vinaigrette. So, oh, it's
Michal,
good. Yes.
somebody would like to know if you can use pomegranate molasses.
You can. I would put if you're gonna use pomegranate molasses, then I would use that plus a little bit of vinegar, like a balsamic or a little bit of sherry vinegar or a little red wine vinegar, just to give that acidity, because the pomegranate molasses is just basically reduced pomegranate juice. So it's a thick, sweet kind of, I mean, as the term is, you know, molasses. So you want that acidity to break up some of that, but the pomegranate molasses is great to add that pomegranate flavor, which, as you can tell, is this is all very Mediterranean. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to decorate this with some fresh mint on top because it's so pretty. And there we go. We've got this gorgeous watermelon feta salad that is so scrumptious. Now you can even eat it like this, or you can be more civilized and sit down at a table with a fork and a knife and start cutting up. Oh, but it's such a nice balance. So you've got this super fresh, super summery, super watery watermelon, especially now. Watermelon is delicious now because it's starting to really be its season. Then you've got the saltiness of the feta. You've got the mint, which is also bright, but which is balanced by the kind of darkness of that pomegranate vinegar. It's so good. Highly recommend. Don't oversalt the dressing because the feta has a lot of salt in it. So just make sure not to go too crazy with salting. All right, we're moving on from the salads. And now it's time for us to get happy and get crazy. We're gonna make some delicious drinks. So I know that your recipe calls for blood orange, and I apologize, but I could not find blood orange this week. So, oops, hang on, just putting some stuff away. So I'm using a red grapefruit instead. Either way, it's a really delicious beverage. The blood orange season isn't that long, so whatever you can find. You can also make it with regular orange. It's just a different color to the drink. So here we go. I'm going to get another knife. I'm gonna get another cutting board. And we're gonna get started. Now, if you don't like the Campari, or I'm sorry, if you don't like the gin, you can switch it out with vodka, and you could do the same thing actually with both drinks. If you don't like gin or you don't like tequila, you can swap out for vodka. I just love a variety of drinks, so why not? Okay, we're gonna start with, so we have our red grapefruit, we have some Campari, I've got some gin. Now, sweet vermouth, you can add or you can leave out. It depends on how you like things. I like it a little more tart, so I like to abstain from the sweet vermouth, but it's your call. You have it on the recipe, you can add it, you can leave it, however you like. I'm gonna get some ice. Here we go. So we're gonna shake up a storm here. We need 1 ounce. So by the way, if you have a shaker, this top thing is your measuring cup. So first of all, I'm gonna fill up some ice. Put some ice in here. I'm going to, Campari. I'm going to add some gin. I like Junipero. My favorite gin of all is called Brooklyn, just the way that you would spell Brooklyn. It's a gorgeous bottle. It's very floral, and Junipero is the same, very floral. And so it's a nice balance to the citrus that we're going to have here, and also to the bitterness of the Campari. So you're getting sour, bitter, you're getting floral, and if you use the sweet vermouth, you're getting sweet. Next, we're gonna cut this puppy open, and I'm gonna show you how pretty it is. So from the Campari, you're already getting that beautiful reddish color, but then you've got this. Now, you might have one of these, great, but you also have built-in citrus squeezers. So what you want to do is just squeeze all the juice out of this grapefruit. And try not to get it into your eye, because that might hurt. Okay, so Shazam, I've done that. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to cut a slice of this so that we have it for a garnish. Maybe we'll get a nice looking slice. There we go. That's ridiculously ginormous. So I'm going to cut it into quarters. And I'm going to just make a nice little slice. I'm going to get a glass. Be right back. Okay. So we've got a glass. We're gonna shake, shake, shake. That is not the top to this shaker. Hopefully this is. Yep, here we go. Okay. And now at this point you do your best Tom Cruise from Cocktail. I'm not very good at that, so pardon my lack of moves. Now, you want it to be really nice and cold. So if you feel like it's not cold enough, this is freezing my hands off, but you really want to shake it up because you almost want to have like little ice crystals. And then you pour it in. Like that. Isn't that the most beautiful color you've ever seen? So with a blood orange, it becomes even redder, but I love this pinkish color. And then we're going to just put that beautiful slice of grapefruit on the side. And you've got this gorgeous drink. Now, if you want to add a little greenery, you can, just to have some contrast. You can add a beautiful mint leaf, and look at that. Isn't that so pretty? Wait, let's taste it. Oh, it's so good. It's refreshing because you've got the grapefruit's not too sweet. You've got the Campari that's bitter. You've got the floral. And if you added a little sweet vermouth, or if you like simple syrup, I just try to stay away from sugar in my beverages because I feel like it's unnecessary. But it is a gorgeous, beautiful drink. You can make a whole pitcher of these and serve it, to your whole family, or you just make one and enjoy when happy hour starts, which is somewhere right now. Okay. Next, for our final fun today, we're going to be making a watermelon cocktail. Now, with a watermelon, again, I've cut it up in chunks. That's the most intense part of this whole drink. So, and I've called for blueberries in the in the recipe, but today I'm actually using blackberries because they looked so delicious, and I love a mix of berries with watermelon. I think it's so yummy. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up my Vitamix, which is a blender, because that's the big part of this. All right, you can see it. And I'm missing the little top thing. Where did I put it? Anyway. All right, so this is a fun drink to make for a lot of people. So I'm gonna make it kind of a big batch. You can put it in the fridge and save it, and have it. You can make it in the morning, stick it in the fridge. Same thing with the other drink. You can kind of prep everything in the morning, and then you could leave it as juice and then add the alcohol later, or you could just put it all together, and then it gets super kind of intense. All right, so I've got my watermelon, and the thing you want to do with this is you want to make it into a juice. Now, I've called for lime, and you can just do lime juice, but I discovered that with this very powerful mixer, I can just put the whole lime in, and then you get a more intense lime flavor because you've got the rind as well. So I just throw the whole lime in there. We're gonna juice this puppy. It's gonna get loud, so I apologize. All right, that's it. Now, I've called for you to strain this so that there's less pulp. But for those who are lazy, like me, I just use all of this because there's nothing wrong with the pulp. It just gives you more fiber, which if you're gonna have a cocktail, don't you wanna make it a healthy cocktail? I think so. All right, so we're gonna do more ice. And this is where, and we're gonna, now you can do this in a pitcher, but if you decide to just, I'm gonna make you a single drink. So I'm gonna kind of muddle the blackberry by shaking it in the shaker. So you add your watermelon juice, you add your blackberries. I'm adding mint. Now, the way to really make sure that the mint gets all of the flavor out, just smack it. It releases all the oils. So smack your mint. There's a lot of ways to get your aggression out in these cocktails and in all these recipes, I'm realizing. All right, and there we go. We've released it. Now we're going to shake it. That is not the shaker cover. Here we go. Now, the way to serve it, we are going to put it in this beautiful glass. I'm going to drop 2 blackberries in, and so because I did not strain, it's a little harder to get it through the sieve at the top. But you get a much darker, more beautiful colors, which is why I like it. So, okay, I'm being lazy. I'm just gonna scoop it out like this. Now you can add a little ice just to make sure it stays nice and cold. And of course, you want to top it with a sprig of mint. And that's it. It's a really delicious, it's like a smoothie. Oh, wait. Oh my goodness. I'm putting it back. I just realized I made a mocktail. It's delicious, but I forgot the important ingredient, which is the Don Julio. All right, so Don Julio's great. I love a Blanco or a silver tequila. This one is great because doesn't have a strong flavor. See, this is why you taste everything before you serve it. We're adding the tequila. We're gonna shake it again because this is not supposed to be a mocktail, it's supposed to be a cocktail, though you can make either way. There's nothing wrong with either way. Okay, so now I'm just gonna strain it into the cup. This is not how you should do it, but I'm doing it for expediency. We're gonna plop 2 blackberries, a little ice. The mint is back, and now we taste it. Oh, it's a perfect refresher for a hot summer day. That's it. We are done for today. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. In the meantime, I'm going to just give a shout out to Supplies for Success, which you heard about before. It's something that's near and dear to my heart. I was one of the co-founders or co-chairs of the original project, and I'm happy that it's now in new hands. But if you have the ability to help out, it's an incredible movement to help kids in our community be able to be ready for school. Cheers.
Thank you, Michal, and thank you for that. Thanks for a wonderful program. The salads looked amazing, and I know I am personally looking forward to making them at home for my friends and family, especially the cocktail. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Please, everyone, stay safe, stay healthy, and let's hope for a time that we can be together. And again, thank you for your support and for joining us today.
Have a great one.
Bye. You too.